I had won the award of International Coach of the Year 2021-22. I was like, this is such a big deal, this international award. I don't know if I can sit there without falling to pieces and being a nervous wreck and vomiting on myself. How I would and use that opportunity and just receive it, like integrate it into my body. It was surprising to me that it felt so hard to actually do that. This is a story of how I have done that inner work to really expand into a place where I could let it propel me forwards and expand further into my next level self. Someone who's really embodied, grounded, and knowing in my own power, my worth, and my ability as International Coach of the Year. Welcome to the Wildflow podcast with me, Charlotte Pointeaux, certified cycle and feminine embodiment coach and shamanic womb guide. In this podcast, I'll share my wisdom and conversations with powerful change makers, thought leaders, and embodied teachers to invite you to live cyclically in flow with your menstrual cycle instead of fearing it, to heal menstrual shame and normalize womb wisdom and period positivity, and to step into your sovereign magnetic power to create and embody the change you desire to see in your world. Settle in to unleash your wild flow. Hi, and welcome back to Wild Flow with me, Charlotte Pointeaux. How are you today? Right now, it's where am I? I'm just at the very start of my cycle. I've been having days of spotting, and my blood is finally just starting to flow today. I'm feeling quite good, feeling a little bit dreamy, and I'm sat here with my eyes closed and snuggled up because it's been a bit cool with the cold weather and the rain that we've had. But my energy is good. My body feels good, and I really want to record this podcast episode for you today that's going to be a little bit different. So this is a solo episode with me. Now, last week I had the most epic news that I had won the award of International Coach of the Year 2021-22 in the Beautiful You Coaching Academy Awards, which are annual awards. It's the school that I trained with originally, my life coach training, a few years ago now, and they have these incredible awards every year. They have different categories. The first Moon Circle Facilitator training's now been a finalist for the last 2 years, which just feels incredible. And this year I won International Coach, which is just mind-blowing. And I'm recording this about 5 days post-awards. And it's just been a glorious time of letting this sink in and receiving beautiful messages and support and love and celebrations and congratulations. And the reason I want to record this episode is because it's been so present and it's still fresh on my mind and in my awareness of how I have been on such a journey since finding out in November that I was a finalist for this incredible award, and the journey I've been on to really embrace that and to step into that, and now the sort of energetic work that I'm doing to step into this position as the international coach, which has just felt so expansive and incredible. Because back when I found out that I had been nominated as a finalist for this award, it really blew me away, and it actually sent me into a bit of a spiral of not feeling that I really deserved to be there. And I decided straight away that I was like, I won't win this award. That's not for me. Like, I don't deserve to be here. I'm not really worthy of being international coach, am I? And the kind of way that it felt really uncomfortable, really challenging in my body, in my mindset, really overwhelming at the time. And I'd love to share in full transparency that I actually didn't even apply for the award of International Coach. Now, let me explain. So there are 7 categories in their incredible awards. As I mentioned, I applied for one for the First Moon training, and that was for the best event or program. Then they have a few other ones of different products and podcasts and books and other things like that. And they've got a trainee award. And then they've got the emerging coach of the award, which is for coaches who are, fairly new coaches, like a few years into their business. They are growing, really doing really amazing work, really stepping out, really growing a beautiful business and doing meaningful things. And I kind of thought to myself at the very last minute, with about 20 minutes to go before the award deadlines, that, I thought I might apply for that award. I had a look at the International Coach and I thought, that's for coaches who are doing like really big things in the world. And I thought, I don't know if I'm quite eligible for that. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I might apply for that one like next time. I thought I'll just apply for the emerging coach, because I hadn't applied for a personal award before, only the program award. And so I filled out this award application really quite last minute. I pressed submit, like I say, about 20 minutes before the deadline. It took me a good hour or so to fill this application out and do it really well. But I didn't have time to overthink it or second guess it or edit and refine. And I didn't have the luxury of that. And so I really just sat there and I just thought, like, why not? I'm just going to take this as an opportunity to really celebrate myself. I've got nothing to lose. I've got no expectations whatsoever. I'm just going to go for gold. I'm just going to write and not filter it, not dim it down, not get in my own way and sabotage myself. I'm just going to let it fly. And I wrote answers to these questions that were really awesome questions about the work I was doing and why it was meaningful, and about, how I conduct myself as a coach and who I work with, and all of these great questions. And I just let it go intuitively, just wrote straight from the heart, just filled out these answers, and remember thinking, gosh, I wrote that really well. Like, that was a really good answer, Charlotte, like, good effort. And I thought, I'm impressed by myself. Like, yeah. And look, you didn't hold back. You weren't modest. You were just truthful. You just told it exactly like it is, but went straight from the heart, and didn't kind of analyze it or judge it. And it's like, you did it. You put a good application in and press send. And that was the end of that. And then about a week later, my emails binged, and I got 2 emails through from the academy that said that the First Moon Circle Facilitator training had been placed as a finalist again in the best program and event category. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is just brilliant, brilliant news. And the second email I got was one saying, you are a finalist. Thank you for your application. However, you aren't a finalist in the emerging coach category. You are a finalist in the international coach category. And I just went, what the fuck? What? I was like, are you kidding? Are you sure? You got the right person? And it said, you might not be expecting this. We have actually received, the applications. We have decided as a collective, as a panel of judges, that we feel that your application is actually better suited to a different category to where you have applied. And this is not a mistake and you don't need to do anything. Congratulations. And I just kind of sat there and was like, mind kind of blown, mind racing, going, but I didn't think I was really eligible for this. Have they got all the information I need? Well, I won't win it, but that's fucking cool to be placed in as a finalist. Wow, really? Like, I better go check their social media just to check that that I've got that right. And I emailed back and was like, are you sure? Have you got everything you need? Do you need anything more from me? And they're like, we've got everything we need. Congratulations, celebrate this. And I just kind of was like, oh my God. And when I saw who else was placed as finalists in this category, this sense of imposter syndrome just grew. There were people there who I've admired for years, ever since I first started training as a coach. Women who are doing incredible work, really meaningful work, really big work, like on big scales as well. Doing it with such integrity, such strong ethics and values and reach, and, had got really high profiles and were appearing in the media all over the place and just doing all this stuff. And I was like, holy shit, I am so out of my depth here. I'm not sure I deserve to be here. And that's the truth of it. And I thought, well, I have got like 4 months until the start of March, when these awards are, to really let this sink in and prepare myself, because I'd been to the awards last year and I know what it's like to feel that anticipation and tension and excitement of, I might win. And the bit at the awards where they start to read out your bio and about your work you're doing and the people in your category as well. And then it's like, drum roll please. And then, announcing who's won. And, I hadn't won before. But I had been, I'd felt this huge roller coaster of kind of like, there was a bit of disappointment before. I was like, oh, it would have been amazing to win. I would really like that for myself. And for the program and all the amazing people who have done my program, to give them the recognition as well. And, lend even more credibility to the experience and their status and, their kind of position as facilitators of this program. But, I saw the people who had won and heard the incredible things they had done last year. And it really spurred me on to want to do more, to want to do better, to want to have more of an impact, to use the platform that I have, the opportunity that I have, the work that I'm doing, to do as much good as I can and to really embody the values that I believe in. And when I applied for the award a year ago, our course was really new, because you have to write your application in October, and the award is not, the ceremony is not till March. So when I wrote the application in October, we had really just begun our very first round. So it was so new. So I heard what everyone was doing and saw the incredible things, and it really spurred me on to want to go, okay, how can I use this course to create even more change? How can I do better? How can I help more people? How can I be more inclusive, more ethical, give back, really use this to create change? And so I've spent the last year really refining that, really doing a lot of work personally, professionally, and a lot of development work, a lot of learning and listening, and yeah, a lot of behind the scenes work to build my business in a way that felt like it was really supportive to other people, really a safer and inclusive space for people, refining my scholarship process, learning more and more about duty of care and inclusion and trauma awareness, but also just, building the strength in my voice to be able to speak out about what matters. And so, yes, I'm creating a business that absolutely provides me with an income and, fulfills my own personal sense of purpose and gives me so much spiritually, professionally, personally. Like, it's so fulfilling what I do. I absolutely love it. But I wanted it to be more than that as well. And so this last year has really been a process of that. But yeah, going back to my point, I knew what it was like to sit in that moment of having the award being read out and awarded. And I was like, this is such a big deal, this international award. I don't know if I can sit there without falling to pieces and being a nervous wreck and vomiting on myself. Here, whether I have won this or not, and then if, God forbid, I did win, how I would actually receive that and, give a speech and use that opportunity and just receive it, like integrate it into my body. It was surprising to me that it felt so hard to actually do that. So this is a story of how I have done that work, that inner work, to really expand into a place where I could receive this award last week, deliver a speech that I had prepared in advance, and deliver it in a way where I've had people, thank me and congratulate me for the beautiful acceptance speech that I did give. And I've had people tell me that I was really composed when I did that as well. But how I can take this award and let it propel me forwards so I can open up and expand further into my next level self, rather than doing what, the opposite, which is a very real potential, which is feel like I'm out of my depth, I'm overwhelmed, and not enjoy that platform and that opportunity and that comes with it. So what are some things that I did? Well, as I say, the very first things that came up for me were imposter syndrome. And I started to compare myself to these other people. And I was like, I'm still a new coach. I'm still starting out. These people are much further along in business than me, like international coaches for like big time people. And I shared this with my family and some, really close people to me. And I let them tell me, actually, no, I'm not that sort of beginner coach. But I realized that I was seeing this old version of myself, and I wasn't feeling the progress that I have made, the journey that I have been on. I was still seeing myself a bit like a child in a grown-up's body, or, I was still seeing myself as this beginner coach in this not beginner business, and seeing not really seeing and feeling the impact of the work that I've been doing. So I really had to let go of this view. And, I did a lot of nervous system work whenever I would sort of feel this fear and this like, oh my gosh, this thing's coming up and I've got to be ready, and I'm so not ready. So I've been doing a lot of movement. I've been playing a lot of music and doing some embodiment work where I play this music, I close my eyes, I start off on the floor on the mat, and I just breathe and I just follow the music, and I just let my body move to the music without thinking, just feeling. It's like I take my brain offline and I go, you can sit over here for a bit, and my body can just move. And this is the primal feminine flow, which I've been learning through my feminine embodiment coaching work with the School of Embodied Arts. And it's a process where when you just let your body move, and you play music for 10, 20, even 30 minutes or longer, your body starts to loosen up. Your awareness starts to drift, and you start to become more mindful, more present. When you can tune into the sensations in your body, then it's like a really powerful mindfulness process. So my body would move and I would start to make sounds and move and I would choose music as well that reflected the mood I was in. So I would play kind of darker, more gritty, kind of powerful music that really felt like a match energetically for this imposter, this gnarly, sticky, churning kind of imposter critic that was there. And after a while, I could really get into it once my mind had really slowed down. And I might be standing or I might be spiraling or jumping. I might start to make, lots of noise, but, just really giving my body this opportunity to express and shift this energy that was present. It was such a powerful release. And it was a way of saying, I see you, I hear you, and I feel you, and it's okay. It's safe to feel these things, but let's let it move through you and out of you. And just being present with what is rather than going, nope, I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to swallow it. I'm going to keep it trapped in my body and I'm just going to keep going and deny it and overrule it. And this is a process that I have been doing really as not very, very, not all the time. I'm rubbish at doing anything all the time. I can't do a daily practice. I don't seem to have the attention span to be able to do that. And give myself compassion. That's cool. That's fine with me. But when I would feel it, I'd go, oh gosh, okay, what do you need? And it would be that. And I would find myself singing, and that's fine too. Just sing and sound and groan and wail. And sometimes I might have a bit of a cry. And it was so good. It was so good to just help me move through those moments. But it would help the energy pass, but it didn't help me get any deeper into feeling why I was feeling so stuck. So just quickly, other nervous system regulation things I've been doing include stroking my chest with the flat of my hand, which helps your vagus nerve calm down. So it takes you out of fight and flight and back into rest and restore. Lots of breathing and sounding and I do that all the time. I think people around me have got pretty used to me doing that these days. I don't hide it and I don't quiet it. But it's been such a powerful reclamation of my voice for one thing, but it's so powerful for soothing my nervous system. I've noticed that my jaw's been really tight and I've had quite a few headaches. And so it's all, a lot of tension that I've been holding, not just around this. I mean, there's been a lot happening in the world as well. But doing, body work and, releasing muscles and fascia and tension and just really, really noticing my body and how this energy and other energies have manifested in my body. I've been trying to get a lot of sleep. I've been trying to keep hydrated, taking more time away from my computer. I've been doing so much journaling you wouldn't believe. Journaling on how I'm feeling, what's there, what's deeper, what's underneath, what are the fears, what do I sense that these blocks are, what's there, just noticing. I am a big dreamer as well, so I've been really noticing my dreams, and they have been wild in the lead up to these awards. I've been having dreams about being chased, about being called out, about being seen and being really vulnerable. And, I know that ultimately is what's at the heart of this. There's a fear of being seen. And that all these dreams were telling me this fear, this unconscious kind of, physical block that I've been feeling where I just haven't been able to go this is amazing and I'm so excited and I so deserve this. There's just been this block. And despite knowing that there's this fear underneath, I just haven't been able to move through this fear. So a lot of things, I've been doing a lot of things. And about a month ago, I was so fortunate enough to actually have a coaching session with one of the teachers on the School of Embodied Arts team for this feminine embodiment coaching course that I'm currently doing. So I got to experience the modality that I have been training in and that I use to support my clients. it's hard to do it on yourself. So it was really amazing to have somebody else hold that space for me. And a big shout out to them for their help in helping me move through this. So I went into this session and I was like, I need some help on magnetizing and welcoming in this next level, this next evolution of me, who is a finalist and potentially an award winner. And it all just feels so massive and scary and overwhelming, and I'm not sure I deserve this. And basically, we spent this whole hour, we moved through some talking to start with, looking at what was going on, what did I know, what did I sense already about this fear of being seen, and what it might mean to be this International Coach of the Year, what it felt like in my body. And then we started to do these really powerful embodiment practices that, like I say, I use on other clients, but it's very challenging to do it on yourself. You can pull yourself there. I know the process. I can take myself there, but having somebody else hold that space for me to be safe, but also just to reflect back to you what they're seeing and sensing and invite you deeper was really powerful. So we looked at, what was underneath these fears, like as we spiraled deeper and deeper, what was underneath these fears. And as we did this, I started to come into contact with memories of all the times where I had felt not enough in the past. There was a lot of big and painful memories there about times where I felt like I'd been at work and didn't know what I was doing, times I felt like I'd been thrown in the deep end, or people had expected me to know something and I hadn't, and I'd had to really scramble to try and hide and pretend that I did. There had been the time when I was doing my A-levels at school when I was 18, and my body, all of me was deeply, deeply traumatized, and my brain just couldn't actually do these exams, and I failed a lot of my exams, and I had to go and resit some exams, and it had been really, really difficult for me. I hadn't realized how much and now I have such an understanding of trauma and how our brains basically go into survival mode. And learning and studying exams is pretty impossible when you are deeply traumatized. And so when I came to uni, I had this absolute fear that I was not going to be able to remember any information, that I couldn't learn, that I couldn't do exams, that I didn't know what I was doing. And I finished uni, having done pretty well, but feeling like, I remember telling myself, don't ever study again. Don't study, just don't do it. And then, fast forward to now where I'm not doing university exams, but I've been learning and doing courses and studying non-stop for 4 years. The amount of training I have done in that time is quite amazing, and I have really managed to rewrite that belief. I know I can study, and I know I can take action, and I know I can make the most of these things, and that my brain is no longer traumatized, and I can do these things. So I went back to that moment as well. I went back to when I was a teenager, and as a traumatized person who had been through so much, I remember wanting to just hide. I grew up in an abusive home, and I grew up with parents who had divorced, and there was a lot of difficulty and a lot of trauma, and I think I was quite depressed for basically my whole definitely my teenage years, but perhaps even before that. And I remember just sort of really trying to hide, really wanting to hide and not be seen, and it was much safer to be invisible. fast forward to my late teen years, and I remember when Big Brother first came out on the TV, and I remember actually saying to myself, don't ever do anything stupid where you're going to be seen. Don't put yourself in the media, in the spotlight, in the public eye. Don't do anything where anyone knows who you are, can talk about you, don't make yourself vulnerable. Like, whatever you do, I actually remember my brain just saying that, like, it's safe when you are not seen. And so this has really been with me my whole life, this absolute, survival strategy of just not being seen. And so, it makes absolute sense when you look at it through that lens, that a big fucking award like this that throws you in the spotlight and really confronts you with your worth, your ability, your, like, it's celebrating me, like it's the most wonderful thing. But my nervous system instantly goes to this place of fear, and this is not safe. So as we moved through this embodiment coaching session, we really moved through and felt what it had been like for me to be unsafe, to be seen. And we looked at what safety does feel like and ways I can come back to safety in my body right now, here for myself, how I can do that for myself. We looked at what it would mean if I did win, what it would mean if I didn't, and who I have to be in order to become this international coach. Like, what role do I need to play? Like, what character or archetype or energy or presence can I call on to help me safely open and expand this into my body, into my energy, into my awareness? And I'd been reading The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe to my daughter, and in this moment, with my eyes closed and my hands on my body, doing a lot of breathing and a lot of deep sighing, I had this vision of Aslan, except for it was female lioness, just bounding effortlessly across the countryside, just playing and joyful with little ones on her back, and just absolutely delighting in the effortlessness of movement, with grace, with going where I needed to go and being seen as this ginormous lion that Aslan is. And I just had this really light energy of just joy and safety and pleasure. And I was like, the lioness, what does the lioness mean? After this session, I just looked up the spiritual and symbolic and energetic meanings of the lioness. And it was all these characteristics that I've been really, cultivating, and values, things like collaboration, about courage, about not being afraid to roar, protecting her children and family, compassion, peace, activism, intuition. She's said to be the goddess, the divine feminine of the animal kingdom. She is a symbol of fertility and pregnancy and birth, the rites of passages. She is inspired and creative. She chooses the most effective path in life. And I just thought, these are all qualities that really mean something to me. And so I decided in that moment that I would print off a picture of a lioness and then write down all these characteristics around this picture and put it on my desk. And that's exactly what I have done. And I have been looking at this lioness and anchoring into the words and how they make me feel, how this vision, this feeling of this lioness in my body, this safety, just really feeling it and letting it amplify and spread and ripple out, emanate from my body, fill the room around me like this bubble that I'm in, and that it's my safe space and I have every right to be here, and that it doesn't matter, in life you're going to come across people who don't like you and don't agree with what you're saying, and you can't be for everybody, but I'm enough and I'm safe that even in the face of those people, it's fine. Like, I am fine. I am safe, and I'm doing something that matters, and it takes courage. So in this moment, I really felt like I could take this lioness with me. And afterwards, after this session, I just felt so free. I felt really free. I felt the freedom of this lioness bounding all over the land. But I felt free from this fear that had been holding me down. I'd really acknowledged it. And I acknowledged it to myself. I acknowledged it to my husband. But to acknowledge it to this coach, somebody else, I felt like I was really shining a light on something that had too big a hold over me for far too long. Just saying it now, it just feels really liberating. It feels really liberating. So doing this work, it really helped me to embody this person that I know that I already am. And when I came to write this speech, this acceptance speech, I'd been stressing so much about, I should write a speech, like, just in case, like, what would I need to say? And, I counted down the days, and I got to a week before, and I thought, I've still not done it. And of course I got to the night before, and it was late. It was about 9-10 o'clock at night. And I just thought, come on, Charlotte, it's now or never, just do it. And once again, I let myself get back into a flow state, and I just put pen to paper, and I just thought, what would you say if you could let your heart speak, your intuition speak? Not your head and all the things you think you should say and should be in this speech. What do you just feel? What's really present? What wants to be said? And I wrote this speech, and I really, aside from giving great thanks to everybody who had put the course together, and Julie Parker, who created and leads this powerful community, and after congratulating everybody else who was winners and finalists as well, I just felt really called to share the absolute importance of celebrating yourself at all stages of your journey, and not waiting until you feel like you've made it, until you can stand up and go, yeah, I've made it. I'm good enough now. I'm worthy now. I can feel successful now. I can talk now. I can do a podcast now. I can, get on Instagram lives, or tell somebody in the street what I do, or, value my time in my business, or prioritize my self-care, or treat myself, or whatever it is. It's like, no, you can do that now. You do not need to wait until you have reached X point before you can really feel pride in yourself, to acknowledge yourself, to feel successful, to feel meaningful, to feel like a winner, to feel like you're doing something meaningful. I wrote this speech from the place of really feeling into and imagining and writing and speaking as if I had won this award. And so I had done all of this inner work before I was even announced the winner, right? So when I came to actually speak this speech and accept this award, it wasn't this great, big, overwhelming sort of shock to my body, where all this emotion that had been trapped and held onto and unprocessed just spilled out of me. I had already been doing that work so that I could fully step into this winner self with ease, with comfort, with confidence, with grace as well. And I'm so thankful to myself that I did that, because I feel so good in myself now. I feel really strong and rooted into owning this, like fully owning this and just embodying it. Instead of being in complete denial that this was meant for me and right for me and I deserved it, and letting it kind of throw me, I feel like I've really been able to do that inner work first. And so it's been a smoother transition. Certainly behind the scenes, I haven't really shared this process so far, but There's a lot of work we can do. There's a lot of magic, a lot of power that comes from doing this, so that we can step into and embody and lead and be and do the change that we want to see in the world, and to be that next level version of ourselves by opening up our bodies and our energy and nervous systems to be able to do this and to feel safe in doing it. Some other things that I've really learned about this process of just embodying your next level self are as follows. You really have to celebrate every step along the way. You have to celebrate yourself every single step along the way. Every step is a big step. And don't compare yourself to somebody else, because you're probably comparing yourself to somebody who's at a completely different point in their business. And even if they are at a completely different point in their business, like I was comparing myself to these other coaches who've had businesses that have been around for longer than mine, I'm doing different work. I'm doing it in different ways. And the way I'm working has obviously meant that, people have seen something in me. They've seen me. They've seen the values I hold, the intention that I hold, the mission I have, the way that I'm working. And that has been what's won me this award, not how many dollars I make or how many people I serve or any of that kind of stuff. It's not about that. And so it's rewriting our measures of success and just being really fucking present with where you're at right now and celebrating yourself all along the way. I really invite you to think about the difference between having confidence and being courageous. You might feel like you're not ready. You might feel like you're not confident for whatever is next for you to embody and embrace your next level self. That might be true. But if you wait until you're confident, you're never going to do it. You're never going to do it. You're never going to move, because confidence is what comes from doing the thing, doing it on repeat, doing it, practicing, getting it wrong, learning, figuring it out again. Confidence comes from doing, and you don't feel confident before you do something. You have to not feel confident and just do it anyway. You have to feel courageous. You have to feel willing. You have to feel able to be vulnerable and take that first step, to fall over, to learn, to try, to get it right as well. You have to be courageous. You don't have to be confident already. You just have to be open and willing. And for me, it's really been about cultivating safety, cultivating deep, deep safety in my body, because I can make myself safe. Somebody else can tell me I'm safe, but I really have to be able to feel it. So how can you do that for yourself? Is it through nervous system support? Is it through creating a community or a small support group around you of people who are there for you, who can hug you and tell you that they love you unconditionally? But how can you do that for yourself as well? What is it that makes you feel unsafe? Can you acknowledge that? Can you realize what the worst possible situation is for you? What's the worst that could possibly happen? And then what's the likelihood of that even happening anyway? How can you feel safe? So for me, it's a mixture of, rationalizing, nervous system support, having support from other people, but really uncovering where these stories come from and letting go of how they're no longer true, and then tuning into safety, a feeling of safety that I can draw on. For me, it comes from the earth beneath me, so grounding my feet into the earth and feeling strong and supported by the earth. But it also comes from being calm and grounded and supported and settled and soothed in my body. And then it comes from, connecting with this lioness presence as well. Is there something for you? What does safety mean to you, and how can you cultivate that in yourself so that it's there for you unconditionally? And also, how can you embrace your full emotions? So when I gave this speech, I spent, a good 20 seconds, I reckon. I mean, it probably wasn't, but it seemed like it to me. I had a cry. I had tears down my cheeks. I was doing some big breathing. Everyone could hear me. I was doing some big sounding, some big sighing, some big exhaling, some big kind of noises. And, you might think that's not appropriate, or you shouldn't be doing that. You've got to look polished and perfect and have your shit held firmly together. I completely disagree. For me, safety is about being able to express, to let my nervous system regulate in real time, to have other people see that and hear that. That's fine. But that's what I needed to do in that moment, was to keep myself grounded so I didn't get all lightheaded and vomit, but also so that I could get my words out. I could be composed. My brain was slow. It's like slow. That's ironic, isn't it? I can't get my words out. So my brain was thinking at a clear, slow, like normal pace and not tripping over itself. How ironic that I just did that now. And I had my hand on my heart. I had my hand on my womb. You couldn't see, but I was really pushing my feet into the floor and my back into the chair behind me, feeling that earth and that support. I was stroking my chest. I was letting the tears flow, and I was letting the noises that need to escape me to do that, so I could ground myself and calm my nervous system. So that's how I really help myself in that build up. And now, once that moment has happened and beyond, I've received the most incredible messages. I've been absolutely blown away. But it's not felt scary. It just feels like the most incredible blessing, such a gift, such a fantastic opportunity. And I just want to really use this chance to do more good work, to grow my business, but in a way that can make, an even bigger impact, can create more change and really stands for something, but in a sustainable way as well, where I feel really steady and strong in myself to be able to do that in a way that honors my boundaries and my energy and my needs and my capacity to do this. And I feel so expanded into being this International Coach of the Year and what that means to me already, because of this huge amount of work, embodiment work that I have been doing behind the scenes. So if you're really calling yourself into your next level expansion, which is, it can be very, very scary, as I've shared. You might have different reasons for why it feels big. I really invite you to take some of these tips that I've shared in this episode and see if any of them resonate, make sense to you. So for me, it's about, coming to safety in the body, looking at reasons why you don't feel safe, just bringing awareness to those, letting that feeling exist in your body, knowing how to move through it, breathe through it, release it through daily or whenever you can embodiment processes like movement and breathing and sounding. Some mindset work about, not waiting until you're ready and confident and that you're all over this before embracing and embodying that new self, but just having the willingness and the courage to open, and redefining your measures of success so that you can just enjoy that journey along the way. About how you can cultivate safety in yourself, in your body, how you can regulate your nervous system, and really leaning on support. So loved ones, community, and a coach to hold that space for you, to witness you, to guide you, to sense where you need to go and what might be underneath, to take you deeper in a really, really safe, very safe way, so that you can do this inner work to release these blocks, to become able to magnetize and expand into your next level self, having that support can be really powerful. And if you're looking for support, that's naturally, of course, the work that I do. So I'm available if that was ever of interest to you. My whole invitation is really about how can you see the magic that already exists within you that other people can see when all you can see is just an old version of yourself. How can you see this magic within you? How can you see what other people see in you? Can you open to that? Can you see it and celebrate it and welcome it? And who knows where that's going to take you from here. I hope this episode has been useful. I hope you've taken some tips. I hope that you feel seen, because, you know, even international coaches of the year have big shit to work through and doubt themselves. But, you know, we can either let these opportunities pass us by. You know, I'm very grateful really that I applied for this award, but, you know, the Beautiful You Academy could correct me and say, actually, no, we see something in you that you don't see in yourself. They could have just said, no, we'll keep you in that category, but their celebrating of me is what's really activated all of this. And so having people around you who are willing to stretch you lovingly and safely into yourself is really important as well. And I can't wait to see and hear from you. I'd love to know what you have taken from this episode, and reach out if you're struggling with anything, if you're moving through anything, any tips that have worked for you, and let me know if you are interested in having me hold space for you to move through your own embodiment process. I can't wait to witness your next level self coming to life, to share their magic and wisdom in the world. Thank you so much for listening in. If you're loving this podcast and you'd love to help me spread the wisdom shared, please leave a review or rating, or share this with somebody who you think would love to listen in. I'm really passionate about creating ripples of change and getting this information to more women, girls, and people with a cycle so that they can reclaim their cyclic natures too. And if you'd love to dive in deeper with learning more about how to connect with your cycle and rites of passages, come and join our free Wild Flow Circle community, or choose a course and learn with me on my online learning hub. All the links are in the show notes. And until next time, be well and go with the flow of your cyclic nature.